The night the truth finally broke loose. 1,500 words transcript. I stood on my porch long after the sun had disappeared, listening to nothing but the distant hum of insects and the soft creaking of the old wooden boards beneath my feet. After the chaos of the last few days, fake badges, illegal resorts built overnight, confrontations at my gate, I told myself I deserved a quiet moment. But quiet never lasts around here. Not with the HOA lurking in the dark, plotting the next absurd move in their war against me. I'd barely settled into my chair when my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. Just 3 words. They're coming tonight. My heart thumped once. Hard. I stared at the message, waiting for more. Nothing. I tried calling back. Straight to voicemail. Whoever sent it didn't want to talk. And the worst part? I believed it. After everything they'd already done, a surprise visit in the middle of the night felt exactly like something the HOA would pull. I locked the gate. I locked the doors. But I didn't sleep. Not tonight. 1. The rumbling in the dark. It was around 2:37 a.m. when I heard it, a deep, slow rumble rolling across the field like thunder. Except the sky was clear, no clouds, no storm. This was something else. I stepped to the window, careful not to cast a shadow. The moon dipped low behind the trees, leaving just enough light to outline moving shapes on the dirt road. Headlights, 3 of them, crawling toward my property. I whispered a curse. 3 trucks, moving slow. No logos, no plates I could see from the distance. But I knew. Oh, I knew HOA. Last time they came, they brought clipboards. This time it looked like they brought a small convoy. I watched as the trucks stopped right at my gate. All 3 engines shut off at the same time. Doors opened with heavy thunks. 6 people climbed out. Flashlights flicked on. I recognized one of them instantly. Ms. Hawthorne, the president of the HOA, the queen of chaos, the architect of this entire nightmare. And she wasn't carrying her usual binder tonight. She was carrying a crowbar. 2. We have authority. I slipped out the back door, sticking to the shadows. If they were going to break in, I damn well wanted to know what they were after. From behind the shed, I could hear their voices clearly. "Cut the lock," Ms. Hawthorne ordered, as calm as if she were asking for a cup of tea. A big guy, one of their enforcement officers, lifted a bolt cutter and snapped the steel chain like it was dry spaghetti. My lock clattered to the dirt. My blood boiled. "You know this is illegal, right?" I shouted, stepping into the faint moonlight. 6 flashlights whipped toward me, blinding me for a second. Ms. Hawthorne stepped forward. "There you are," she said, smiling like a villain in a low-budget movie. "We tried the polite approach. You refused to cooperate." "Cooperate?" I barked. "You built a resort on my land." She waved a hand dismissively. "A necessary community improvement. It's my land. That's under review." "By who?" I demanded. She smiled wider. "By us." God, how I wanted to throw her off my property right there. But 6 people stood between us, all wearing identical reflective vests and determined expressions. "Tonight," she continued, "we are here under emergency HOA ordinance number 37. I blinked. "There is no ordinance to 37. "There is now." She snapped her fingers, and the big guy stepped forward, unrolling a long piece of paper, freshly printed, still warm, so ridiculous I could smell the toner from 10 feet away. "This property," he read in a monotone voice, "is hereby declared non-compliant due to unregistered structures, unapproved animals, and hostile attitude toward community management." My jaw dropped. "Hostile attitude? That's an ordinance now?" Ms. Hawthorne nodded smugly. "It is when I write it." 3. The real reason they came. "And what's your real reason for being here?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Ms. Hawthorne's smile faded. That's when I knew. There was something she didn't want me to know. Something she couldn't just mail a fake violation for. She stepped closer, her eyes cold and sharp. "We need access to your barn." "My barn?" I repeated. "Yes." "For what?" "That doesn't concern you," she snapped. "It does. It's my property." She inhaled sharply, irritated by the truth. "We received a report that you're storing unauthorized equipment." What equipment? But she didn't answer. Instead, she motioned to her team. Search the property. They began spreading out, flashlights scanning the ground, boots stomping through the dew-covered grass. I stepped in front of the path to the barn. No one goes inside. The big guy moved to shove me aside. But before he reached me, a voice shouted from the field, "Stop! Don't touch anything!" Everyone froze. A figure sprinted toward us from the darkness, hood up, breath ragged, flashlight bouncing wildly. When they reached the fence, I finally saw their face. It was the same person who'd texted me earlier. A young guy, maybe early 20s, eyes wide with fear. "You can't go in that barn," he gasped. Ms. Hawthorne glared at him. "And who are you?" He swallowed hard. "Someone who used to work for you." Silence. Ms. Hawthorne's face paled for the first time since I'd met her. 4. Secrets that weren't supposed to come out. The young man pointed at the barn. "There's something in there," he said, voice shaking. "Something they hid." My lungs tightened. "What did they hide?" I demanded. He looked at me, then at them, then back at me. "A generator," he said. "A huge one. Industrial. They installed it quietly last week." "Why?" I asked. "For the resort." I frowned. "The resort already has power?" He shook his head slowly. "No, not for that." He hesitated, then said the words that changed everything. "It was for the expansion." I blinked. "Expansion of what?" He took a deep breath. "The HOA's private retreat." My jaw tensed. "What retreat?" He pointed at the direction of the trees behind my property. "The one they're planning to build, on your land." Even the night seemed to go silent. I stared at Ms. Hawthorne. She didn't deny it. Instead, she looked furious, like someone had just exposed her biggest secret. "Take him!" she barked. 2 of the enforcement officers grabbed the young man before he could run. "No!" I shouted, stepping forward. But the big guy blocked me. "This is an internal HOA matter," Ms. Hawthorne snapped. "He's not part of the HOA anymore," I growled. She smirked. "He never stopped being our property." A chill ran down my spine. 5. When the barn door opened. Without warning, the big guy shoved past me and yanked the barn door open. What happened next? Even I wasn't ready for it, because inside the barn, lights flicked on automatically, and the truth slammed into all of us at once. A massive industrial generator sat in the center, but it wasn't alone. The walls were lined with diagrams, blueprints, maps of my land, sections labeled, color-coded, and in huge red letters across one of the maps, HOA Private Resort Phase 2, Takeover Zone. My entire property outlined in red, every acre. They didn't just want a pool, they wanted everything. Behind me, I heard the young whistleblower shouting, "I told you, they're trying to annex your land. They forged signatures, fake maps, everything." Before he could finish, one of the officers covered his mouth and dragged him back. My vision blurred with anger. "You planned this the whole time," I said quietly. Ms. Hawthorne didn't even flinch. "We were going to inform you eventually." "By stealing my land." "It's not stealing," she replied coolly. "It's reallocating for community benefit." "It's my land." "And soon," she said, "it won't be." 6. I finally fought back. Something snapped inside me. Maybe it was the months of harassment. Maybe it was the illegal resort on my field. Maybe it was seeing a kid terrified because he knew too much. But this time, I didn't back down. "You're done here," I said. Ms. Hawthorne laughed. "You can't stop." I cut her off. "No, you're done." I lifted my phone and pressed play. A recording played, clear as day, their entire conversation from the moment they arrived. Every threat, every illegal order, every admission. Ms. Hawthorne froze, eyes wide. "So," I continued, "you're going to walk away right now, all of you." The officers looked at her, suddenly unsure, because they knew. This wasn't just a violation, it was criminal. She clenched her jaw so hard I thought it might crack. "This isn't over," she whispered. "It is for tonight," I said. She glared at me, then at the barn. Then at the whistleblower still struggling against the officer's grip. "Let him go," she hissed. They released him. He ran straight toward me. Ms. Hawthorne climbed into her truck. The others followed. Engines started, headlights turned, and slowly, furious, defeated, they drove away. 7. The aftermath. The young man stood beside me, breathing hard. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded weakly. "I had to warn you. They're not stopping." "I know. They want everything." "I know," I repeated. He looked at the barn. "You need to expose them." "I plan to." Then he hesitated. "There's one more thing you should know," he said. I turned to him. "The expansion?" He shook his head. "No, something bigger." "Bigger than stealing my land?" He swallowed. "They're not just building a resort." "Then what?" His voice dropped to a whisper. "They're building a headquarters." My stomach sank. A headquarters for what? He looked me dead in the eyes. "For the regional HOA authority." I felt the blood drain from my face. "That's why they want your land," he said. "Your property is the central point, the perfect place to control every neighborhood within 50 miles. I stared at the night sky, silent, cold, and then he added one final sentence. A sentence that ensured my war with the HOA was far from over. "And they'll be back sooner than you think."